Chelsea 3, Wolves 0, and that is more like it. Yes! Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, that means looking back on the last game before another international break. Come on, man, this is getting silly now. But it's Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. Now, before we get into this, at the end of the day, yes, I'm buzzing about this win, largely because of some of the narrative and stories that have gone through it, but we had to win this game. This is, this isn't the same as beating Arsenal. It's not the same as beating Liverpool. It is a Wolves team that have only got 2 points in the Premier League, and it is also a Wolves team that is without a permanent manager as of right now. Their youth manager was promoted temporarily in order to manage this game. So, truth be told, it absolutely had to be a win. Do you know what I mean? It absolutely had to be a win. And even with that, they gave us a rough half in the first half for sure. Do you know what I mean? They definitely made it reasonably difficult for us to play through them. But ultimately, it was nothing like the Wolves we saw in the Carabao Cup game recently, where they managed to get 3 goals in the second half. But guys, before we properly get into it, if you're enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, so the lineup was pretty good, man, and obviously the narrative this week in particular has been largely focused on consistency, mostly pertaining to the centre-back pairings, but consistency in the team in general. And I think it's fair to say that was, kind of what we got. So Sanchez in goal absolutely needed to be, because get Philip Jorgensen away from my team. A backline of Malo Gusto starting in right back. A centre-back pairing of Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana, which is the same that we saw in the Spurs game, who played really well together. They played really well together tonight as well. Left back Cucurella, that's about as consistent as it gets. Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. They've now started 13 games together in the Premier League, or 13 games actually in the whole season for us, sorry. So consistency there. Alejandro Garnacho on the left, Joao Pedro in the middle, and Neto on the right. So Garnacho has been starting the Prem games mostly, and Jamie Gittins has been doing the Cup games. So again, consistency. Liam Delap up top. It's very difficult to be consistent with the striker option at the moment, isn't it? Just because of the injuries and everywhere we are with that. But at the end of the day, for the most part, the team was a strong team, the team you wanted to see, and featured consistent pairings. That means that people can actually start how to learn how to play together, isn't it? Which is really, really important. So the first half, man, first half was a weird one because we didn't score. Do you know what I mean? We went into halftime 0-0, but we were dominant. We looked like we had lots of really, really good chances. Alejandro Garnacho looked really bright. Enzo Fernandez throughout this entire game was awesome. It's a shame that he didn't manage to get on the score sheet or get any assists, but Enzo Fernandez really, really, really good. Enzo Fernandez seems to be opening up a little bit recently now, I think, by the way. It's, there's 2 versions of him, isn't there? There's the passenger and there's the guy that wants to make things happen. And, last night we absolutely saw the guy that wants to make things happen. Garnacho was good, man. Garnacho is looking like he's really settling into that role on the left. And like I say, we'll get into the second half performance, where things really started to happen. But even just in the first half, trying to score goals, trying to get assists, low-driven crosses, and really was our most sort of potent attacking threat throughout the first half. Liam Delap had a bit of another rusty game, do you know what I mean? He is still looking better. He kept his temper in check, which is good. Another game with no red cards, by the way, start to finish, so that's really cool as well. But, not much to talk about in the first half in the grand scheme of things, but let's move on to the second half, because that's where things started to get really fun. So no changes were made at halftime, actually, and I was doing a live stream with Kai from behind the dugouts, and we were sort of saying maybe there'd be some halftime changes. Malo Gusto was one of several players in this game that looked like he'd had a reasonably serious injury, and we did see Reece James warming up before half-time as well, so it did look like maybe Malo Gusto was going to get swapped for Reece James. But I think every Chelsea fan and Malo Gusto himself is very, very glad that didn't happen, because the first goal of this game was Garnacho ripping it down the left, put a cross in over the top for Malo Gusto, who has scored his first Chelsea goal in 81 games, but not only that, his first professional career goal. Yes! Go on, Malo Gusto. Go on, Malo Gusto. Mate, I've been not harsh. I don't think I've been harsh, because he's never scored before. Do you know what I mean? But Malo Gusto, every single time he takes a shot, I audibly sigh. Do you know what I mean? I audibly am like, Malo Gusto, you can't shoot, stop shooting. Now, this wasn't a shot, it was a header, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he was buzzing, man. He was. I mean, we were all buzzing. It was the first goal of the game, and it really, really opened things up. But to see Malagusto put one away, oh, finally. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, with Malagusto as well, he's not just like a right back, is he? In our system in particular, he gets forward and he's in midfield and he's playing in attacking positions and stuff. And I can only hope, maybe this won't happen, do you know what I mean? But I can only hope that is, the first of not many, but some, at least some. Do you know what I mean? I would really like to see Malagusto get on the score sheet a little bit more often now, because it would also make that transition that he's made from sort of atypical right back into inverting attacking midfielder, and that make it make more sense. Do you know what I mean? If he's got end product and we can start seeing goals and assists from Malagusto as well, then all of a sudden that position makes sense for him. Do you know what I mean? Whereas what he does a lot of the time, don't get me wrong, he plays a really important part. He's got loads of energy, lots of running. Do you know what I mean? But if we can add some final products into that as well, Malagusto might start pushing some of the other people in the team for a spot, which would be really, really, really interesting. So like I say, that kind of opened the game up a little bit, but what really opened the game up was the introduction of Estevao Willian. Oh, mate. The narrative around this kid, man, I feel like I've just been talking about him game after game after video recently. Whether he's starting, and I actually said this a little while ago, I actually think that Estevao has so far looked better when he comes on rather than when he starts, and we've seen that today. He came on, and within minutes of coming on, gutted he didn't get the assist for this, man. He literally took two players on the right side and low-driven cross, which ended up deflecting into the path of Joao Pedro, who got his second goal in 2 Premier League games because he scored against Tottenham as well. So, are we also starting to see the reinvigoration of Joao Pedro? I really, really, really hope so, because we've all seen what Joao Pedro can do when he's feeling good, right? And Estevao, it was funny because we were doing the stream and we were talking about subs, and, it was getting around the 60th minute. We were like, maybe someone's going to come on. And I was like, it feels like Estevao should come on, because a player, like, don't get me wrong, Pedro Neto, as we'll get on to in a minute, really, really good player. But what it feels like we needed was someone to unlock Joao Pedro a little bit. When Estevao came on, Liam Delap was taken off. Joao Pedro was put into the striker spot, and Pedro Neto was put into the 10. Estevao was put on the right, and like I say, man, within minutes, he tore down the right wing, took on those two guys, low-driven cross, deflected into the path of Joao Pedro, boom, 2-0. Absolutely love it. Love to see it. And like I say, it's just... Estevao's so good, man. I can't believe this kid's 18. Do you know what I mean? This kid's 18. It's such a shame he didn't get the assist yesterday. He's got 6 goal involvements already, 4 goals and 2 assists this season for us, though. For an 18-year-old's first season in the Premier League, the narrative is wild, absolutely wild. All that's going to happen now outwardly from commentators, pundits, is there's going to be even more pressure to play him, But if I'm completely honest, I think we're absolutely doing the right thing. He's our joint top. No, I'm not sure. He was our joint top scorer after he scored in the Karabag game. He's got 2 assists as well. Really, really, really good numbers. He's starting or coming on almost every game now. Do you know what I mean? Almost every game. For the last 4 or 5 games at least, do you know what I mean? He's either starting or he's coming on. He's getting minutes, and I think we're treating him the right way. We shouldn't, as a fan base, and, put all of this pressure on Estevao Willian to be the answer to the problems right now. We need to let him develop, because in a couple of years he could be best player in the world if he keeps going this way. Do you know what I mean? And that's what's really exciting about Estevao. We think we might be looking at one of the next greats of the game. It's very, very possible. Everyone in Brazil seems to think that. Everyone is waxing lyrical about him at the moment. And he will, of course, he's going to end up being in the starting 11 all the time. Of course, he's going to end up starting loads and loads of games. But as of right now, where we are, I think we're doing the right thing with him. And I would like to see that continue until it feels natural. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel natural to throw Estevao in all of the time at the moment, because we've got the Cole Palmer injury and this, that, and the other. It feels like we're trying to plug a hole. Do you know what I mean? But I think just do what we're doing with him, man, because the boy's getting numbers. Do you know what I mean? So let it happen naturally. And the last goal is another really massive shout out to Alejandro Garnacho, to be honest, because the goal was from Pedro Neto, but Alejandro Garnacho, 2 assists in this game. Absolutely fantastic. Him and Jamie Gittins are doing this. They're just leapfrogging each other game after game after game at the moment. And that's really, really good, because both of them had reasonably slow starts, right? For me, and it's kind of been this way for most of the season for me. Garnacho is just in front of Jamie Gittins in terms of like overall performances. You know, Garnacho scored in important games. Jamie Gittins got the 2 goals and assist in the last Wolves game, which was really, really important. Obviously, you know, we only ended up winning that goal by 1 game. But at the same time, I feel like Garnacho is a bit more ready. Do you know what I mean? And it looked like that today as well. Garnacho generally looks a bit more dangerous, even when he's not making things happen. But in this game, 2 assists, man, absolutely fantastic. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for me, he's already looking better than Jadon Sancho was. He's already looking better than Mykhailo Mudryk was. Do you know what I mean? And I've said it on the streams and I've talked about it so many times. I would much, much, much rather have, I know Jamie Gittins and Garnacho are building into it slowly, but I would so much rather have those 2 than the likes of Jadon Sancho and Mykhailo Mudryk. I do think, despite the money spent on Jamie Gittins, and, you know, a lot of fans still aren't 100% sure about Garnacho, but for me, like, I think we've got 2 really good players on our hands here, and they are battling it out for that spot, and they are both getting much, much better as well. Really, really good game from Alejandro Garnacho yesterday, and Enzo Maresca's really happy with him as well, waxing lyrical about his work off of the ball as well as his work on the ball, and I think we can expect Garnacho to be our de facto starting left winger for our most important games going forward. So that was it for the numbers, but there was one more thing that I want to talk about in particular pertaining to this game, and it was the introduction of Mark Guéhi. I have been pessimistic about the idea of Mark Guéhi getting more games, to be honest, and it was a bit of an unusual one. I'm not sure why, but Tyreek George didn't even make the bench for this game, and I was like, oh, that's a surprise. So and we started Liam Delap and Joao Pedro, right? So it was a bit like, oh, so if we, you know, what we're going to do? And obviously for a little while during the game, Pedro was moved into the striker spot, and when Guéhi came on, he got moved back into the number 10. So it was really nice just to see Guéhi get some minutes, man. Do you know what I mean? Get some minutes, and instantly, the second he comes on, bosh, run, energy, go, press. Absolutely love that about Mark Guéhi, man. There has to be a spot for that in the team. Surely there has to be a spot for that very specific skill set in the team. When you consider the other strikers we've got, like Joao Pedro, very playmakery, likes to drop deep. Liam Delap, bit of a bully, strong, not really, really fast, good at link-up play and stuff. But when you've got someone like Mark Guéhi, you can just bring on, especially at the end of a game, to run. And he nearly got a goal for his trouble as well. It was just a hair, man. He just missed it by a hair. So, look, there's a lot of talk about, does Mark Guéhi go back to Sunderland? And, you know, we were talking about it on the stream yesterday, and it's like, I could see that, man. I could 100% see that. Sunderland are having such an incredible season, which, by the way, is something I'm going to get onto in a minute. But Sunderland are having such an incredible season that they're going to want as much firepower as they can get. And like I say, as I've just explained, for me, a skill set like Mark Guéhi's got, where he's able to come on at the end of a game with buckets and buckets and buckets of energy, that could cause teams real problems, especially later down the line, further into the season, when players are starting to get leggy and tired, teams are starting to get leggy and tired. Someone like a Mark Guéhi who can just go is useful for any team, man. And like I say, Sunderland are having such a good season at the moment that they're just going to want to carry it on, aren't they? They are just going to want to carry it on. So that's it. Well, you know, that's kind of my wrap up of the game yesterday. It was absolutely awesome, but the caveats obviously being it's a Wolves that have only got 2 points and they didn't even have their, you know, permanent manager in tow. So although the game eventually ended up the way we wanted it to, with lots of goals, and we made them look easy to play against eventually, they gave us a real rough first half, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, we looked dominant, but it was looking like it was going to be a stodgy game. I kind of predicted a 2-0, and it looked like it might go that way, but ultimately we got the goal. So now what this brings us to is today's football and where Chelsea are going to be after the international break. So yesterday, a brilliant day for football in general, right? As a Chelsea fan, you have to have loved all of the results, or the big results that we saw yesterday. First and foremost, of course, Man United versus Spurs. Jokes, bruv. Absolute jokes. Loved it. You know, look, I didn't actually watch the game, but it looked like it was a tough game, man. I've seen a lot of people just talking about how poor Spurs were and how poor United were in spells and this and that and the other, so I already love that. So Man United went 1-0 up, then Spurs scored 2 goals. It was like after the 80th minute or something as well, man. Absolutely crazy. And then Man United come back with really like a last minute goal from De Ligt to make it 2-2. So Man United and Spurs drawing with each other. Absolutely love to see that. Helps our position. Doesn't really help either of those teams get any further. Do you know what I mean? And absolutely love to see that. And Richarlison, man. Wow, the Richarlison thing was a bit cringe. took it because he scored in like the 93rd minute or something, do you know what I mean, or the 91st minute, and then took his top off and was like, yeah, I've won the game, and then they couldn't even see out another couple of minutes before United's De Ligt managed to get a header and to make it 2-2. Absolutely fantastic, love that. And then of course we have to move on to Arsenal and Sunderland. Sunderland, mate, take a bow, man. Sunderland, what a season they're having. Arsenal have conceded 3 goals in the Premier League up until yesterday, and they conceded 2 against Sunderland, and Sunderland held them to a 2-2 draw, and again, right at the last minute. And you've got to respect Sunderland, man, because that's what they did to us as well. The goal was quite late, and, you know, they've done that against Arsenal. Obviously, they got the win against us, but they managed to do that against the current Premier League leaders, who most people are tipping to win the league at the moment. I'm still not so sure, because for me, City are going to win 20 games in a row and just absolutely steam it. But Sunderland, man, fair play. Like, being a Sunderland fan this season must be phenomenal. Like, you must be having an absolutely great time. Your manager's really good. Your team's really good. You know, everything is just coming up Sunderland at the moment, and you know, so much respect to the work that's being done by the manager and the team. Really collected, really together. And absolutely, you know, and taking points off of the league leaders, man, taking points off the league leaders and scoring 66% of the goals that they conceded all season in one game, man. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, I'm so happy about that. And look, you know, truth be told, it would have actually benefited Chelsea more for Sunderland to have lost that game in the grand scheme of things, but taking points off Arsenal is still as valuable as, you know, that at this point in the season, you know, where still a lot of points can be won. I'm very, very, very happy to watch Arsenal get knocked down a peg by a phenomenal Sunderland side. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. That is my review of the Chelsea Wolves game and my assertion of how lovely it was as a Chelsea fan to see some of those results come out yesterday. So here we are, another international break, but I'm going to be keeping busy and the content is going to still keep coming. Obviously, we'll be looking into the news, but as well, I'm going to be looking at doing collabs with lots of my lovely Chelsea friends. So I'm really looking forward to it, man. I've got big upgrades coming to the channel. You can see that I'm moving into a new studio at the moment. I tried this out on the stream yesterday and really like it. So you know, tell me what you think. Do you prefer the more Chelsea coded blue background, or is it a little bit distracting and something a little bit more subtle kind of works? I'm going to be doing some really, really interesting stuff. I've got some podcasts coming up that I'm going to be filming in real life with, you know, in the same room as the people. Really looking forward to that. And I just can't wait for you all to see it, guys. And there's some massive, massive, massive upgrades coming to the channel very soon, which I'm also very, very excited about. So nice one, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you all had an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.